Pratik, this is the Global Digest think tank group, and you are our guest today. What is your specialized area?
First of all, John, thank you for inviting me. I'm working in right now. I'm presently working with the Christ University in Pune, Lavasa, that is in India. My expertise is in constitutional law as well as in the environmental law. So basically, I try to analyze the constitutional law from the point of how it helps in protecting the environment as well as the other areas also. So specifically, I also deal with the issues like how Indian Constitution specifically has helped in protecting the environment and what is the role of judiciary and ensuring that the environment, which is one of the major resources or one of the major parts of the ecosystem, is protected by the Indian constitutional framework. I belong from Rajasthan, but then I'm working in right now. I'm based in Pune, Lavasa, India.
I see. How basically can you consider? Can you say about Indian Constitution?
Yeah. Basically, the Indian Constitution is one of the lengthiest constitution in the world. It contains around 395 articles initially, and it contains around 12 schedules. And apart from that, we have like when the Constituent Assembly, which was formed in 1947. We have basically referred to all the major constitutions around the world, and then we have tried to incorporate all the important provisions or the provisions which are necessary for a democratic country to function effectively. So for instance, the preamble of Indian Constitution itself provides that India is a sovereign socialist secular democratic country. So in the preamble itself we have mentioned that the India is a democratic country and it is a republic country wherein we are basically a secular nation wherein it aims to provide all the fundamental rights, and the fundamental rights we have a like specific part under the Indian Constitution, that is part third of the Indian Constitution, which provides six fundamental rights, which are basically inviolable, and also the state is obliged to ensure that the fundamental rights are enforced. In short, like if I had to summarize that the level of constitution, then I would say that India is, I think it's one of the best constitution around the world, because most of the provisions which are required for a democratic country to run effectively, we have it written explicitly under the Indian Constitution. It provides for the fundamental rights, it provides for the directive principles of the state policies, which basically helps the state to formulate the policies regarding various issues, and within that it explicitly talks about the protection of environment also. If I may like talk about the environmental provisions under the Indian Constitution, so I would say that Indian Constitution is one among the constitution around the world that explicitly provides the provision for the protection of environment. It provides that it basically guides the state, that the state has to basically make the policies or formulate the policies which would basically protect the environment, the various components of environment like forest, your natural resources, wildlife, lakes, etc. It is basically provided under Article 48A of the Indian Constitution, which basically falls under the part fourth of the Indian Constitution, which is Directive Principle of State Policy. In short, Directive Principle of State Policies, these are basically non-justiciable rights. So it basically allows the Indian state to make policies with respect to the subject matters which are mentioned in the different parts of the part 4 of the Indian Constitution. And apart from that, it also provides the protection of environment provision is also provided under Article 51 AG of the Indian Constitution, which talks about the fundamental duties, wherein it mandates every citizen to protect the natural environment, wildlife, and your lakes, your forests, and all the natural resources, as well as to develop the compassion towards the living organisms or living beings. I would say that Indian Constitution is one of the best constitution around the world that specifically provides provision for the environmental law as well as also for the other like other aspects of rights like human rights and your other all kinds of fundamental rights.
let's see, constitution law provide or guarantee welfare for the population as much as possible, like compared to Scandinavia or northern part of Europe or most of Europe, they provide a lot of welfare. They guarantee they have a law or they have a legal system.
Yeah, so India is basically a socialist nation wherein it is basically the word socialist means basically what you have referred, no, the welfare of the citizens. So basically, it is acting as a welfare state wherein it provides various kinds of rights under the fundamental rights itself. For example, right to education. Now, it is one of the fundamental right for all the children between 6 to 14. That state would ensure that they have to provide free and compulsory education. Similarly, we also the state is also ensuring that the population in India, it's like they are provided with the right to food. Similarly, we have various rights like right to shelter, then right to clean environment, then you have right to livelihood. So basically, Indian state is basically a welfare state wherein the policies are framed in such a way that they are basically guided by the directive principles state policies, which are a part of constitution, and also they are also there to like enforce the fundamental rights, wherein article 21 of the Indian constitution is very important article. It talks about right to life and personal liberty. So Indian judiciary has been very creative in their pronouncements, wherein they have extended Article 21 to include various kinds of rights. For example, you have right to various rights like right to clean and healthy environment, right to clean air and water. Then you have right to shelter, right to livelihood. So all these fundamental rights or all these rights are basically provided under Article 21, wherein judiciary has expanded the scope of Article 21 and ensured that the state is acting as a welfare state, wherein India is like as you all like as you know that India is a like it's one of the largest is one of the most populated country in the world. We have surpassed China also recently.
Right.
So it is necessary for Indian state to ensure that the citizens or the population is like provided with a basic facility, and it is a role of the state that it ensures that state is acting in such a way that it ensures the welfare of the citizens by providing basic amenities and basic source resources, so as to ensure that the population is able to realize their potential, so as to contribute to the country.
Uh, but I don't see about the right to clean or the right to food or the right to shelter. But I can say maybe probably I see India has the right to education and the right to health. Probably I think most public school has free and education.
By
But private school is not free. You know, it's they have to pay a lot of money for
yeah, yeah.
private
So
school.
so basically, so
But
basic.
also private hospital has to pay. But I guess public hospital may be free. I don't know. How can you say public hospital and
Right.
school?
Right. So I'll tell you that India has basically adopted a mixed model, mixed economy, wherein we have also incorporated the fragments of socialism, as well as we have also included the fragments of capitalism. So basically adopted a mixed model wherein we have allowed the private sector also, and apart from that, state, while ensuring that it is protecting the rights of the vulnerable people as well as the population which are not economically or socially well versed. Then the state is basically providing facilities. So as you have rightly pointed out, that we have a model wherein there are public funded schools and there are private funded schools. Similarly, we have private funded hospitals and you have public hospitals. So basically, the services which are provided by the state, they are free of cost. For example, education, for education in India, the public schools, they are basically provided with the free education till class 10th from because the fundamental right which is provided under Article 21A, it talks about right to free education. Now right to free education is for the children between 6 to 14 years of age. So similarly, in hospitals also, now the government has basically implemented various policies wherein the government is ensuring that, or the state is ensuring that the free medical facilities are provided to the citizens in the public health sector as well as the private health sector. So now the government has implemented various policies, like if I may say, Ayushman Bharat, and then various policies across the states, because India's federal model, wherein the states are also allowed to make their policies and to implement their laws. So in that regard, various states have formulated various laws to provide health services in the private sector also as well as in the public sector also. So if suppose a person is there who wants to have a treatment for disease like cancer, then if he doesn't have the access to public hospital, then there are policies wherein the government is funding the treatment for cancer in the private hospital. So like this is a mixed model we have like adopted, Indian state has adopted, wherein we have incorporated both the elements of socialism as well as capitalism.
So as you said, mixed model and both functioning private sector and public sector. I mean, when there's competition, usually private sector, private school, private hospital is better services and better quality. So people want to go to private school and private hospital for better quality and better services. And usually, public school and public hospital are not that good services. And I don't know how the government manage between these two sector operating at the same time, how much it can manage and how much, example, private school, they can raise the price and for hospital and maybe public sector hospital and public school may not really good.
Like with respect to education, if I may tell you that apart from having it as a fundamental right, it is also given as a statutory right, wherein right to education 2009 is specifically an act which provides that the students belonging from the marginal communities, that is on the basis of the economic condition, they will be given certain reservation or quotas in the private education. So all the private educations, specifically schools, when we're talking about, it is mandated under right to education that around 25% of the seats will be reserved for the students belonging from the economic backward class. So in this way, like I basically like I am not in complete concurrence with your statement that the services or the quality of education or quality of services which are provided in the public schools or public hospitals is not of that quality, because what has been seen that we have to we have certain provisions under the legal framework wherein it ensures that the private sector is also regulated, wherein it is also ensuring that it is accommodating the students belonging from the backward society. I mean to say that from the society from like economic backward section of the society. And also with respect to health services, like we have one of the when we're talking about the medical system, India has one of the very one of the best medical systems, wherein you have the best hospitals which are basically public funded hospitals. For example, AIMS. Now, all India medical institutes are basically established throughout the India, wherein they provide quality health services with a very minimal cost or at no cost. So, and also apart from that, in higher education, you have like one of the best education institutions around the world. For example, you have IITs for the engineers, you have IIMs for the management schools, for the management education. Then you have NLUs, National Law Schools, which are specifically designed for the law education. And similarly for fashion technology, also we have like NIFT. So uh, all the like all the big institutions are basically public funded institutions, in terms of like in both the health sector as well as in the education sector. But now private sector is also coming up, wherein they are also supplementing and complementing with the public education, as well as public health services sector. And they are basically ensuring that the individuals who are not able to access, or they access the public services, they have the option that they can access the education or health from the private sector.
See, so in terms of health, I agree. Those some of Indian legal system very cleverly they play the role like medicine, medical issues, HIV medicine
Right.
or other cancer medicine are very expensive if you go through international price and copyright medicine. Those all regulation is very expensive in America, Europe, but India cannot follow international law, copyright law imposed by those rich countries. So India uh, uh, constitution, probably India legal system uh, is a guarantee for all human beings to receive health, the right to health, right? And India can reproduce without copyright as much as they want, and they provide service as much a cheaper price to the population. I think that is India did very cleverly and successfully, I guess, compared to other countries.
Yeah, and also like with respect to the intellectual property, when we're talking in the with respect to pharmaceutical sector, usually drugs, they are like the chemical composition and all the drug formulations. They basically are like they require protection of under the intellectual property rights, specifically under the patent law. So like India is a member of by Patent Cooperation Treaty of 1970, and also with respect to the copyright and trademarks laws. Like India is a signatory, as well as it has ratified most of the international conventions. For example, Berne Convention we have ratified, which basically provides for the framework regarding the copyright, and also I believe that after independence, the foundation which our forefathers have laid down with respect to inculcate the scientific thinking or scientific reasoning, it has helped us in basically developing certain sectors like pharma sectors, like service sector. Like India is one of the like very important player in terms of service provided throughout the world. And also with respect to like it is also like these days it is considered as a pharmacy of the world. So we are basically leading in generic medicines, we are also basically leading in branded medicines, we are basically providing medicines to the most of the African nations also at a very cheaper price. And like although there's some instances wherein there are issues of like quality, but then at large, I believe that like India has been performing well uh, in these sectors, specifically in pharma sectors, service sectors. And I believe that it is because like the way the legal system has been laid down, or the constitutional law has been laid down by our forefathers. It has helped us in achieving this state, because it has basically provided that the scientific thinking or scientific reasoning should be promoted, as it has been laid down under the constitution itself.
You see, so maybe many developing country, poor country will be agree with India for providing cheaper price about medicine, drug price for right to health. And when you talk about environmental law, and it's including forest issue, right? Forest and
Right.
cleaning case, that is, I guess, India is a lot of pollution, air pollution, or a lot of environment pollution, a lot of trash and streets and all the public infrastructure. Also, many places there are a lot of not clean. So I don't know how can you say even though you said the law, constitution provide the right to clean, it is never fulfilled or is difficult to fulfill the right to cleanse or cleanse environment. How can you say that?
Yeah, like coming to the specific question, like with respect to cleanliness, so I would agree that in practicality or in terms of implementation, India is still lagging in terms of like ensuring proper cleanliness with respect to like with some basic essentials like water, then air. We are like facing like the capital of India, that is Delhi, New Delhi. It is still like at the present time, it is facing the rate of air pollution. So like I to a certain extent like I agree with you that we are lagging in terms of implementing these rights, although these rights have been recognized under the constitution and by the judiciary, but then the executive is basically lagging in this in actual implementation of this right. So all the various initiatives have been taken by the Indian government, but then like I believe that it also depends on the collective consciousness of the society, which actually helps in like ensuring that we are provided with the clean and healthy environment. So like I believe that like although certain steps have been taken by the government, but then the need is that we need collective consciousness, collective steps from various stakeholders for ensuring that we are able to actually implement the right to clean and healthy environment, because like it is very important in today's world, wherein countries like India, China, or other countries which are basically developing countries, they are they are basically moving towards being a developed countries. For instance, India is like targeting to become a developed country by 2047. So if we need to achieve this target, then we need to ensure that the environment is also very critical, very important in achieving this aspect. And yeah, we need to like the executive need to ensure that the policies of the rights are basically implemented at the ground level.
Right, I see. Uh, and I don't know, the law is there, as you said, the legal system, the constitution said it must be clean environment and clean the street or the road should be clean and environment should be clean. But you can see a lot of cows and dogs on the street and on the road, and also a lot of uh, people are toileting on the roadside. I don't know, that is part of Hindu culture or Hindu religion.
I would rather say that it is basically related to a societal issue, wherein the culture, the religion, they all come together, and they basically like we have developed a system wherein we have ensured the coexistence with the animals. Like for example, if you visit India, you will see cows, you will see stray dogs, but then like there are certain religions which basically regards, or certain practices which basically regards or basically what you say we basically appreciate like how we are able to like coexist with the animals within a society. But then I believe that certain steps needs to be taken so as to ensure that the animals and the people who are living there in a particular society, they should be there should be some regulation, or there should be some action by the state, proper implementation of laws, as well as like the proper regulation wherein the population of the cows and other stray animals like dogs and donkeys or any other animals which you see around the streets of animal, they needs to be controlled. It needs to be controlled. So recently if I might tell you, like a few months back, there was a judgment which was passed by the Indian judiciary, which basically talked about the issue of stray animals, specifically dogs in the New Delhi. So the court has basically it has ordered the executive that they have to ensure that the stray dogs which are moving around the residential areas, they needs to be like they needs to be properly segregated, and they should be like there should be certain like specific measures which should be taken so that it doesn't affect the humans as such. So apart from that, we also have certain rules or certain legislation. For example, Animals Against Cruelty Act is there. Then you have Biodiversity Act, which talks about controlling or basically ensuring the rights of animals as well as ensuring the rights of humans. But then, like, I believe it's a societal issue more or less, and also the state has not this issue has not been was is not addressed properly. So but gradually, there are certain instances or certain cases in the courts, as well as certain issues, certain protests by the organizations wherein it demands that the animals rights should also be protected along with the human rights, and so that we are not basically it doesn't so that we can balance how animals and humans can coexist together in a society.
And the other thing is, you said the Constitution mentioned about shelter, the right to shelter, but also that is issue many probably poor people or low class or homeless or jobless. You can see a lot of people on the street or on the slum area or many those things. But I don't know that the law is there, or it's the law not really refer to them, or the law refer to what kind of shelter, or it's a lack of executive or the government poor performance or corruption, or how can you say that?
Yeah, so when I'm referring to right to shelter, it is basically a decision which has been given by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has basically held that right to shelter is basically a fundamental right. So that is how right to shelter is basically found its place under the Indian legal framework through the judicial exposition. Now, coming to the actual situation, I believe that the migration, internal migration, is one of the major reasons you find slums, people living in around the slums, or they are not having proper places, and also issues lack of resources, lack of opportunities. They are also contributing to this issue. So there are certain policies or certain programs specifically targeting the providing the housing has been taken by the Indian government in last decade, and so far we have done well, but then still there's a it's a big issue which I believe India is also facing, and I also think that many developed countries are also facing the same issues. For example, US is also facing the issues of homeless people, and so the situation is not much different from the Western nations. India is having this issue, and there needs to be proper allocation of budget. There should be proper financial mechanism which should be provided by the government, and also it has to be ensured that the right which has been considered as a fundamental right under the Indian constitution, it should be implemented on the ground. So the state is basically lagging in that, and I think that more work needed to be done to ensure that the people are basically provided with basic shelter and with all the basic amenities.
Right, right. So the maybe in case of India, maybe population is also problem because most welfare country in Europe, they have very low population. They can able to cope the situation easily, but India population is so huge and that everybody cannot able to achieve welfare, and no significant can provide by government problem because the number, 1.5 billion is so big. I mean, that is also not just pollution about air pollution or environment pollution, even human pollution. Can you say a lot of human uncontrolled or population uncontrolled? That's how constitution and legal system background. It's not good to control population to deal to cope the situation will fare better in India?
Yeah. So, like, if I may tell you that India is, in terms of population, we are the largest populated country in the world, and also in terms of area, also we are the seventh largest in terms of area. So, like, in terms of size, we are really big, but then, uh, like, the issues which you have referred, like specifically, the providing lack of shelter, or the quality of environment, or the quality of service.
And the point is, I don't know, constitution, is there any restriction or any suggestion about population to control population, or it doesn't suggest to control population, or because it's also one of factor, I think it affect the environment and the poverty, because you mentioned about migration one state to another state, that's because of population, big population
Right.
movement inside India. And second is internationally also, it can affect population overflowing. So how uh, can you relate it with the Indian constitution and population management?
Yeah, so the subject matter relating to the population is basically covered under the family planning. So basically, it is provided under Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution that the central, that is Parliament, as well as the state legislature, both have the power to make laws on the subject matter relating to family planning. So, in 1970s, like there was like compulsory programs for the sterilization, but then in recent years, like India has viewed population as an advantage, wherein we are considering that if we are having a young population, and we are able to provide them with all the resources, like education, quality education, like proper skills are given to them, then it could act as a dividend for India. But then what is happening right now is that we have this explosion of population, wherein we are the youngest nation in the world, but then issues like lack of employment, lack of skills is basically affecting us. And like this issue, like it's needed to be like addressed at this point of juncture, because we have a population, but then we are not able to accommodate them, not able to provide them with the quality of
Right.
resources. So this issue has been highlighted, like in India. And like I believe that like although the parliament as well as the state legislature, they have been given this power under the constitution, then they can make certain laws relating to the control of population, family planning. But then like I have not, like, according to me, like there are not many laws which specifically deals with that.
No
But
state
then
are
the
doing,
government has.
nobody is doing. Why the politicians are not willing to
Yes.
make regulation about population control?
So we do not have the explicit law as a central law which talks about the, or which basically restricts the number of children. But then the government has basically adopted this approach, wherein it is not forcing not forcing the citizens to reduce or restrict to the number of children. But then it is it is basically ensuring that, or it is basically educating the education that having a nuclear family with a restricted number of children, for like one or two, it is beneficial for the people. But then like we do not have explicit laws as such, but then there are programs which have been run by the government, which basically tries to educate the population that they should plan for family planning, and then they should also restrict the number of children in a family. But
Right.
then in my knowledge, at the central level, we do not have any specific law which talks about reducing or restricting the number of children, because it is also against the human rights, because under the Indian constitution, right to life, wherein it also provides the right to reproduce, it is also one of the rights, one of the
Of course.
uh, rights which is under the Indian Constitution. So state as such does not have this power wherein it can intervene and basically talk about the restriction of number of children.
I
It can
mean,
only basically educate the population, and then the society itself has to decide what they have to do.
I mean, it's true. The right to life is true, but also the right to accommodation and welfare is also true, and the right to clean pollution and I mean clean environment, because population affected many other rights. Is uh, the right to life is jeopardized to many other rights: the right to food, the right to accommodation, the right to environment, and migration, and as you said, movement, migration, one state to another state within domestic, also internationally. And some states are very small. When big population, maybe UP or other state are very big, 100 millions of population. For example, they are very small state. They are about 1 or 2 million. If big population state, they move to small state. That small state cannot uh, able to accommodate, and it's a kind of destroying the small state population through population. So it's jeopardizing uh, another group, one group over another group. And also because of population, you can become more and more deforestation, because a lot of people were, build houses or farmland or many things. They were expand. So definitely forests will be ruined because of population too. So there are many negative side, negative effect by uh, population than positive, I guess.
Any citizen is allowed to move in any part of the India, and he's basically under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. He has been provided with this right to movement, and right to carry on any trade or profession, or right to start, or right to basically migrate from one part to any other part of the country. So like we have give like the Indian Constitution basically give this right as a fundamental right. So there are certain areas wherein the government has imposed restrictions on the basically on the grounds of security, or for the grounds on the issues because of the security issues. But then largely India is a free country wherein state does not regulate the movement of the individuals or the citizens. But then like there are certain areas, as I've already mentioned, like the northeastern states. Then you have states like Jammu and Kashmir, wherein there are certain rights which are the movement is restricted. It is basically the government is basically ensuring for the purpose of security, for the other concerns, that the movement only the government, after the government permit, you can move to those areas. But by and largely, you're free to move in any part of in the part any part of the any part of the country, and irrespective of in which state you are born or you're brought up, you can pursue your career in any state, in any part of the country.
You see, and the population and voting rights also imbalance probably in different states, because UP and those big states, they in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha probably because they have millions of 100 millions of population, and they have also hundreds of member of parliament, MP in the Lok Sabha. But in case of small state in Northeast, they have only one member of parliament in Lok Sabha. So
Right.
how Indian constitution mention how is balance those big number of representation, small number of representation. I mean, that is democracy. So which means whatever they make decision, those big population will always wins. and small state will be always lost. So that will be unfair for smaller state. How the constitution provide balance and similar opportunity to the smaller state as well.
Right. So you have rightly pointed out that the Indian Constitution legal itself provides that the members who would be representing in the parliament, they would be decided on, like, the number of seats each state is having. It would be decided on the basis of population. So states like UP, Bihar, West Bengal, they're having a large population wherein they are able to accommodate larger number of participants in terms of member of parliaments in the Indian parliament. But then there are certain policies and programs by the Indian government which are specifically dealing with the smaller states. For example, states like northeastern states, which are usually like which are like smaller states in terms of size. So the state government has basically given special status to those states, wherein it is providing additional funding to the states so that they are able to utilize their resources, they're able to meet their needs. Also, states like Uttarakhand, or you have states like Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, they also provided with the additional funds because the demography of such areas, like of such states, the size of such states, the resources which they have. So basically, to compensate with respect to the population and with the size of the state, the central government is basically providing additional funding by giving special status. And also, there's this provision of like financial packages which the Indian central government, like from time to time, gives to the different states on the basis of their requirement. For example, in 2019, 2000, like in recent years also, like various annual special packages have been given by the central government to the states like Bihar, Assam, which are basically facing the issues of floods, which is basically leading to the migration of the cities, like of the people there. So like especially in budgetary allocation also, like there's a specific provision for providing special packages for these for the smaller states. So like this is how, like we do not have the constitutional framework for providing that, but then we like the executive is basically like develop this system wherein according to the need of the state, particular state, availability of the resources which the state is having, on the basis of that the center is basically providing additional support in terms of financial packages to the smaller states.
I see, but the thing is, you mentioned mainly about budgeting. Budget will be additionally provided to the smaller state. But I mean, the point is not just budget issue. They should also have a political rights. Political right.
Right.
They should be representative at the parliament, or they should be also representative in the central government. Usually, small
Right.
state has they can never have a chance at the central government, any high level position, high profile at the cabinets or at the high executive power. They don't have political rights. Budgeting is good, but there are bigger issues like political rights and other things. Small state, uh, they need such thing, and I'm very down about those big population and big state. I mean, the politician intentionally they let them polluted, or they let them overpopulation because they want vote and they want many seats. That's why they let them make a lot of population in India. That's become overpopulated in many states. That political issue is behind the population increasing in India. How can you say this?
Yeah, so, I do not agree with your first statement that we do not have the representation, political representation at the higher, at the central level or at the like in the cabinet ministries, because like states like Goa, states like which are very small state, also from the state like northeastern states. Like it is always that in all these governments, in almost all the governments which are formed at the center, like we'll have one or two ministries or portfolios in the cabinet which are basically allocated to the representatives which are belonging from the smaller states. So that statement is not fully correct, but then there is this issue wherein the representation, the political representation of the people at the center level of the which are specifically belonging from the smaller states, it is less. But then the Indian constitution has provided this model wherein uh, like the states have also been given autonomy in most of the subject matters. For example, under the Indian Constitution, Schedule 7, so we have the system wherein on certain subject matters, the parliament or the central government, so the parliament will have the exclusive power, exclusive jurisdiction to make laws. Then you have certain subject matters in which the state legislature will have the exclusive jurisdiction to make laws. And then there are certain subject matters wherein both state legislature as well as the parliament will have the jurisdiction to make laws. So in that sense, the state legislature wherein the people are electing their representatives in terms of member of legislative assembly, they have this like those MLAs are basically responsible for ensuring that the people are like people from the smaller states or people from the from the very small areas. They are also politically represented and their needs are like basically heard, and the government is basically working towards them. So through that model, I believe that the Indian constitution has tried to accommodate wherein certain autonomy or to a large autonomy has been given to the states, wherein they can make laws and they can basically work towards the welfare of the population.
I see. I see. But if you talk about federalism, I don't know India federalism. I mean, because of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, in terms of Lok Sabha MP proportion represented by different state is very much different. Some are hundreds member of parliament from one state. Some are just single one member of parliament from one state. So that is very big gap imbalance in the Lok Sabha representation in Indian parliament. I don't know, compared to America, American federalism and India federalism. In America, state they can have their own military, like National Guards. Also, state government can control police and many other things. They also have a lot of legislation they can develop and very limited from central government.
In India, basically, we are following a three-tier system wherein at the top you have the central government, then you have the state government, and at the local level you have like you have municipal corporations, you have at the village level you have gram sabhas and panchayats. So basically, we have three levels of governance wherein at the each level basically constitution has provided certain autonomy to all the three tiers, wherein the municipal corporations or the panchayats which are basically functioning at the rural areas and in the urban areas, they are also allowed to basically decide from them how they want to be governed. So at the third at the ground level, we are basically focusing on the grassroots democracy. So when we compare with the US and India, so in US, you have the system wherein each state would be represented by the two members in the Senate. But then in India, we have this provision wherein it is decided on the basis of population that how much a particular state would have representation in the parliament. So that is how that is one thing which is different from US that India is having. But then when we are talking about the autonomy or the subject matters wherein the state governments or the municipal corporations or the panchayats can make laws. There are various laws, for example, with respect to health, with respect to police, with respect to criminal system, with respect to education. States have been given this power wherein they can make laws. Similarly, when you're talking about the environment like forests, natural resources, and with respect to mining, states are again given to a large extent to a large autonomy wherein they can make laws and they can regulate how the resources or what are the how they want to be governed. So like in US also, they have the system wherein the federal government will have will have the power to make laws, and then you will have a state government wherein the states would make laws, and you will have a separate judiciary for the states also, and for the federal also you have a like separate judiciary. So in India, with respect to judiciary, we have a unitary system wherein at the top we have the Supreme Court, and each state or two states can basically have a high court, which would basically administer all the subordinate courts at the district levels or at the ground level. So for all the matters which are basically um relating to the constitution or to the statutes, they would be basically, they can be tried by the or the or the high court would have the jurisdiction to basically try those matters. But then in US you have this provision wherein the state laws, if you have any issue with the state laws, then the state judiciary would basically have the power to try those issues. So you for federal laws, you have a separate federal judiciary which will basically try the issues. But then in India, we are not following this model. We have this unitary model wherein the issue would basically be first be tried by the district court. Then for appeal, you can do it at the high courts, and if you want to appeal it again, then you can go to high Supreme Courts. So only in matters wherein there's a dispute between center and states or two states, then you can directly file in the Supreme. That then the Supreme Court will have the original jurisdiction. But in cases of fundamental rights violation, the high courts and the Supreme Court, they have this concurrent or like they have the parallel jurisdiction wherein the citizen have been given the right under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution that they can file they can directly file the writ petitions in the Supreme Court as well as in the high courts in case of the violation of fundamental rights. So there is no parallel to this in the US courts wherein you have like for any statute which is violating their rights, then it would depend that whether it is a federal law or a state law, and then accordingly the judiciary will have the jurisdiction. But in India, we have this unitary system wherein the high courts and the Supreme Court or the subordinate courts will have the jurisdiction, and it will go from it is basically following bottom to top approach.
Really, Indian politicians are taking benefit from the population because the constitution allow based on population they have MP. The number of population is matter for MP candidate, to get MP. If you have 100 millions of population, you get more MP in the Lok Sabha. If you don't have 100 million or just 1 million, you get just one MP. So that is, I guess, it may also a problem for India overpopulation because of politics is involved, I guess.
So it is one of the disadvantages with with the model which India has adopted, because we are basically deciding the representation on the basis of population, not on the basis of the contribution. So this has been issued recently, which has been like there's a tension between the states in the northern part and states from the southern parts, because many states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, they have the lesser population, but their contribution in GDP is much higher than the states like UP or Bihar. So, like the next delimitation which India is going to have in 2028, I guess. So there's this tension between the northern states and the southern states regarding the allocation of representation in the parliament. So this is one of the issues we have, and also with respect to the what you have stated regarding to the national guards in US system. So in India we have this police wherein which is police system wherein the police is under the states, but then regarding the paramilitary as well as the military forces, it is exclusively under the control of central government. We do not have the system wherein the state can also have their paramilitary services or para services.
Right. That's why that's mean India is very much controlled military by central government alone, not like federalism.
Right.
US federalism is even military controlled by each state, for their own national guard. So India is too much control by central government, too much military is completely by central government, and state government has no chance to control. I think that's maybe also imbalance of power, and also population is also issue. You have military issue, population issue in the constitution, because of that. That's depend on constitution. I don't know how much state can control land territory of each state, and district level, or how much they can control. I don't know.
So, when we're talking about the control over the land, then under the seventh schedule of the Indian Constitution, the land governance, or basically governance relating to land and related revenue, it is exclusively under the control of states. So the states have the full power to control over the land aspects, and the one thing which you have mentioned earlier regarding the central government is having the exclusive power with respect to how to regulate the military and paramilitary forces. So under the Indian Constitution, like we have followed this federalism, like federal structure, but then it is leaning towards the center, wherein the center in certain subject or certain situation circumstances, the federal nature of the state would become unitary. For example, we have Article 352 of the Indian Constitution, which talks about the national emergency. Then we have Article 356, which talks about the state emergency. And then we have Article 360, which talks about the financial emergency. See, in all these three types of emergencies, like the power would basically all the powers which are there with the state legislature, it would basically shift towards the center, and the parliament will have the exclusive jurisdiction to make laws in certain matters. And during this particular specific times, for this specific times, for example, when there is a war, or when there is a internal disturbance or armed rebellion, then the center will have this exclusive jurisdiction wherein they can like enforce their military power, and like under like the military is basically under the president of India. So president is the commander of chief of military in India. So president can basically, on the advice of the council of ministers, can basically direct the military, like the armed forces, to basically take actions and to take over the state, like take over the situation, like take over the situations like riots or external wars or disturbance. So in such cases, like the center has been given this power, and the parliament or the central government will have the exclusive power, not the state government or the state legislature.
I see. You said three kinds of emergency. Uh, the emergency power, right? Three kinds of emergency power. It's under president power, or is their prime minister has anything to do? It's exclusively president has three kinds of emergency power to declare emergency.
So this power is exclusively under the president, but then the president has to act as per the aid and advice of prime minister and his council of ministers. So basically, prime minister and council of ministers, they will be forming as a part of executive, wherein the head of the executive is president. So whenever there is a situation, whenever there is a situation or there is an apprehension that there is a situation of law and order, or the security of state, or of wars or situation like war, then the council of ministers would basically advise the president to enforce the national emergency or state emergency or financial emergency, whatever the case may be, and then the president would basically enforce the emergency. So president as such is having the exclusive power, but then he would always act on the aid and advice of the council of ministers, which is led by the prime minister.
So parliament can advise president, or parliament can suggest, or prime minister can suggest president, and parliament cannot act, or parliament cannot declare. Prime minister cannot act, and prime minister cannot declare emergency power. Only president can have the right to do emergency our declaration, right?
Right. So whenever the prime minister is also when advising, he has to advise, like he has to take the advice of the council of ministers. But then after promulgating the emergency, within a specific time period, it has to be approved by the parliament also. So there is this provision under the Article 356 as well as under 352, wherein after the first sitting of Lok Sabha, which is also known as the House of People, the House of People has to approve the promulgation of emergency within 6 months from the date of from the date of promulgation of emergency.
I see.